it did a good job of getting things done. So there was no one thought there was a need to really change things. And we looked at it and said, with access to justice being at sort of the forefront of things, I'm passionate about, was saying, how can we make it so we receive fewer complaints? How can we make the process less confusing for people? How can we focus on not what works for staff, but what works for the people, the everyday people who use our system? And so I did a bit of a deep dive into accessibility and various barriers, systemic barriers that might be there. And what I realized was that I could have all sorts of really possibly good ideas, but I would have no idea if it was really what people wanted. I needed to hear from our appellants, and what I really only heard from the appellants was, angry complaints, not useful information.
So how did that turn into an interest in this active sense-making narrative research that ended up using Spring? How did that come about? And why not just do a normal survey?
Why not do a normal survey? That was what I asked when I first heard about active sense-making. And I guess I had gone to a seminar where the consultants we ended up working with, Terry Miller, he was at this seminar and was showcasing what active sense making was about. And it really resonated with me because the tribunal had been sending out surveys, a user experience survey with each of our final decisions. And we were averaging getting about 1 or 2 back a year. So really, they were telling us nothing. We would mail them out. We'd never see them again. No one took the time to complete them. And when Terry said, you can get people to share stories. Everybody likes to tell a story. That really resonated with me. I have an English degree. I love stories. I think words matter. And so that resonated with me. And I started to think what we could find out from people's stories. We know people are unhappy, but we don't know why. And we don't know what people's actual experiences are. We know the people who pick up the phone and yell at us. We don't know about people who don't call. And so it dawned on me that doing active sense making could confirm some of the things we thought we knew, would let us know whether we were on the right track with suggested changes, could let us know where we might have missed the mark, but it would also tell us about what we didn't know we needed to ask about. And I think that's one of the places where the magic really lies, is when you do a survey, you're asking people to give specific information about things that you already have a sense about. Tell us about how you liked our computer interface. Tell us about how you found the hearing procedures. Were you satisfied or dissatisfied on a scale of 1 to 10? But by doing this, we were saying, tell us about an experience at the tribunal. And so we heard all sorts of things we didn't know we needed to ask about.
With a traditional survey, we have formed a hypothesis, and we're testing that hypothesis. But we miss out on things that we might not have thought to test. And also, the answers are all abstracted. So people give opinions, but we don't know the context of those opinions. And so what you're describing really fits. And to be able to discover through stories, through the narratives, that there's stuff we never would have thought of asking about that suddenly looms up, and we start seeing patterns of that sort of stuff.
Absolutely.
We make sense of the world through stories. It's a very human way of engaging with change, engaging with systems, and bringing about improvement.
And yeah, the power of stories. I've long believed in the power of words, and hearing what someone says about how it affected them personally is so much different than getting a 2 or a 3 on a 10-bar scale of how your services are. That sucks.
Yeah.
It's not pleasant, but you don't necessarily feel motivated to make it better for this person.
Well, I mean, you think about it, when we're in the break room or wherever it is, we meet some friends at a coffee shop, and they say, "So how's your day going?" None of us says, "Well, today's a 3.5. Oh yeah, well, I'm actually a 4.7. I was a 4.2 yesterday, but today's a 4.7. And we say, "Oh yeah," we tell stories. I mean, it's really crazy that we think that 4.7 is saying very much. If others were coming to you saying, "Should we use this?" What kind of advice or what kind of suggestions might you make?
Well, first of all, I'd say absolutely. I think we give ourselves too much credit when we assume that we know best, and don't ask what our users experience. And sometimes that user experience just reaffirms that we're on the right track. But sometimes it points out glaring errors. And like I said earlier, sometimes it shows you what you didn't know you needed to know about. So absolutely, people should do it. I don't understand why everybody doesn't have an active sense-making budget, because I know other colleagues who, do user experience, but in different ways. But getting the actual narrative is just so impactful.